Please welcome Dr. Jen Anderson.
Thank you very much. It was my privilege last night to host a seminar that I put on, because that's what I do in my own spare time. The topic of this particular seminar was how to become a manager. The thought was that the people who attended it were worker bees, individual contributors, as we like to say, who someday wanted to be a manager. So what I did was I got 4 people who were managers to come and be in sort of a panel session. It was a great meeting, got a lot of great information. One of the most interesting things that came out of it, and the people in the panel managed teams from 5 to 32 people, so that it sort of ran the whole gamut, to speak, was how much time these managers said that they spent doing the little things, time cards, vacation requests, all that stuff associated with being a manager. I knew they had to be spending some time. My gut told me 10 or 20% of a day or something like that. They came back and they said that during a course of a week, they felt that they spent probably somewhere between 40 and 60% of their time doing all the little things that come along with being a manager, which blew me away, because what it means is they didn't have any time to do anything else. And I hadn't realized that to be an effective manager, it really took up that much of your time, which was amazing, because what I spend my time thinking about is parliamentary procedures. And I'm thinking, wow, if I was in a meeting and I had to spend all of my time worrying about the little bitty details of a meeting, the meeting would never happen. We'd never have a chance to talk about what was going on. And so that'd be highly ineffective. So it's critical that we have parliamentary procedures. And as long as we have those parliamentary procedures, we have to know how to use them. Because I want you to think about parliamentary procedures as being a tool. As being a tool you have right here in your back pocket. So the next time you go into a meeting, you're going in with your tool belt on. It'll be even better if nobody else has a tool belt, because then you'll have a tool belt and they won't. So what I want to share with you today is a couple more tools for you to put into your tool belt. And of course, if you're a participant in a meeting, the number one tool that you have is something called emotion. And I'm not talking about emotion, because we all feel things, and that's really good. But I'm talking about emotion. And emotion is something that you can do during the course of a meeting that you're in. Now, there's all sorts of motions, and we've talked about a few of them in the past, but today I want to talk about a very specific type of motion. These are called, sort of lumping them all together, incidental motions. Can everybody say that with me? Incidental motions. Exactly. And what is an incidental motion, you might be asking, and that's what I'm going to tell you right now. An incidental motion is something that has to do with the meeting, but has potentially nothing to do with what's being discussed. Okay? So it's something important, something you have to bring up, something that's just burning you inside, but it might have absolutely nothing to do with what's being discussed. So let's talk about an example of that. One type of incidental motion is something called a point of order. Now, point of order, as a participant in every single meeting that you attend, you have the right to put your hand up. Could everybody put your hand up, please? And say, I make a point of order. Can I hear it, please?
I make a point of order.
Excellent. And what you're doing is you're calling out the person who's running that meeting, and you're saying, you're doing it wrong. So point of order is all about, hey, look, stop. I understand how this meeting is supposed to be running. Most meetings, or if it's a good meeting, is going to have an agenda, correct? And an agenda tells you the sequence of events that things are supposed to occur in. If things start happening out of sequence, the meeting's broken. And as a participant, it's for you to point it out to the person who's running it and say, hey, stop, wait, this isn't the way we signed up to do this meeting. So you would make a point of order, you would bring it to the attention of the person who's running the meeting, and you would give them an opportunity to get their act together and get back and start doing things as per the agenda. Another very powerful type of emotion that you have is something called an appeal. An appeal. Does that sound a little legal to you?
Yeah.
I didn't like the outcome, so I decided to appeal it, right? Well, that's exactly what we're talking about. So in a meeting, you are just a participant. Are you the person running the meeting?
No.
Are you in charge of the meeting? No. If I asked you, would I be able to say it's your meeting? No, absolutely not, okay? So you can make a point of order. You can call out and say something's wrong, something's broken. But it's the person who's running the meeting who gets to determine whether or not they make a change based on your request, right? So they may tell you to, and we can say this nicely, shut up and go away, right? Now how's that going to make you feel? Sad, right? And maybe you know you're right. Have you ever been in a situation that, okay, yeah, you know you're right. Well, you can make an appeal in a meeting. Now, in an appeal, you say, stop, I disagree with you. I don't think that what you just told me, Mr. Leader of the meeting, is what we should do. So now things are getting ugly, right? Now, your appeal has to be seconded. So somebody else has to say, I agree with you. Okay? And if that happens, then what has to happen in the meeting is there has to be a little debate. Not a big debate, but a little debate. Where the person who's running the meeting gets to state why they think it should be this way. You get to state why you want to make the change, and the person who's running the meeting gets to, unfortunately, wrap it up with their final thing. Then you take it to a vote and say, should we do it this way or should we do it this way? 2/3 majority, poof. That's the way it works. There's also one other point that I like to cover, one other type of motion that I like to cover with you. It's called a point of information. So you know how it goes in some meetings, right? There's the little discussions, and then there's what we call the monster discussions. You know, the discussion starts here, just goes on and on and on. And I mean, can you really ever remember what the heck's actually being discussed? Half an hour into some sort of discussion? Generally not. So there's another type of motion you can make, which is called a point of information, where you can sort of say, halt, stop. I understand we're having this big discussion, but I would like to check a fact. I would like to check on something. You could be having a big discussion, for example, in this type of club setting, about doing some sort of big event or something like that, and at any point in time, anybody in the room could say, stop, point of motion, let's check with the treasurer to find out if we have any money to do this. At which point in time the treasurer would come back and say, we've got $2 in the account, $4, or whatever that happens to be at that particular point in time. The information will be provided, and then the discussion will go on. So a point of information motion is designed to basically provide a little bit of information to allow the overall discussion to go. So these are 3 incidental motions that are now tools that you can put into your meeting tool belt, and the next meeting that you go to, you're going to show up a better dressed participant. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.